The chief at NATO is Mark Rutte. He's warning the U.S. to prepare for a war with Russia. Matthew Whitaker is the U.S. ambassador to NATO and joins me now. Mr. Ambassador, that was a very strong warning. You think it's justified?
Yeah, I do, Stuart, and it's good to be with you. And I think what Secretary General Rutte is really trying to describe is what President Washington told us as our first president of the United States, and that is those that want peace must prepare for war. And even the Romans had the same idea, is that you have to be strong. You cannot be weak. If you're weak, you'll be taken advantage of by adversaries. And so we need to, as an alliance and as the United States of America, be ready to be strong and be able to defend ourselves and make sure that we are always vigilant. But at the same time, NATO is a defensive alliance, and we don't attack people. We defend our alliance in every single inch of the alliance territory.
How many years and how many dollars will it take to have NATO be in a position to defend itself in a war with Russia? How far away are we?
Well, we've made great strides under President Trump. As you know, we got the Hague defense commitment of 5%, where all of our allies have agreed to dramatically increase spending. And we're seeing results already. We're seeing countries, for example, Germany, that will be at that 5% in the next 4 years. We see Poland and the Baltic states already at 5% as soon as next year. And so it is a dramatic increase in defense capabilities. And again, that strength is what's going to ensure the peace and make sure that we remain unchallenged. And, you know, NATO has brought about, among the alliance, has brought about really almost 80 years of peace since World War II, and it's the whole purpose of the NATO alliance.
Mr. Ambassador, President Trump vows to retaliate after 2 U.S. service members and 1 American civilian were killed in Syria. Watch this.
I can tell you in Syria, there will be a lot of damage done to the people that did it. They got the individual person, but there'll be big damage done.
What's your reaction to that, Mr. Ambassador? I mean, big damage done sounds like a big operation coming.
Well, Stuart, first of all, this personally affects me. These were Iowa National Guard members that were serving our country and deployed in Syria. You know, I mourn for their families and the 3 that were also injured, praying for their recovery. You know, these are the best of the best and the pride of Iowa. But, you know, President Trump is absolutely right. We are going to seriously return fire in this situation. ISIS will be completely obliterated. President Trump is not going to allow ISIS to get a foothold in Syria. And so we should expect significant operations in the coming days and weeks. But at the same time, you know, President Trump is as resolute on this, and, you know, these soldiers are not going to have died in vain.
We've got a lot of military power concentrated in the Caribbean. Do we have enough military power to take care of something like this event in Syria?
You know, the United States is unmatched globally in our ability to project power. You know, I was just last week in Aviano, Italy, visiting our wonderful fighter jets there and the pilots that fly them together with the people that maintain and enable those missions. I mean, we are an incredible country that can project power wherever we need to on the globe. At the same time, we need to make sure that we're deployed consistent with the threats. And, you know, obviously, Secretary Rubio, together with President Trump, know that the Monroe Doctrine is still important, and we need to make sure that the Western Hemisphere is strong and secure and that we have allies. And so countries, rogue countries that try to export drugs and chaos to the United States have to be dealt with. But yes, we can deal with all of these threats. And, you know, I trust President Trump to make sure that we prioritize them correctly.
We've got to defend ourselves from internal terror threats, too. Ambassador Whitaker, thanks for joining us, sir. We always appreciate it. Thank you.